Hey everyone, welcome to another espresso. Thank you everyone for all the great comments and feedback and suggestions on topics and all of that cool stuff. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone just for continuing to watch. So, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to all the stuff, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that cool thing. Anyway, we digress slightly. I wanted to really speak about the fact that a lot of people, and by people I mean hiring managers, companies, HR, TA, whoever it is, but people that are hiring are missing a massive trick. And there's a whole hidden talent pool around that people are overlooking. And I think the context is, if you think about the last couple of years, everyone's been moving. I read some stats recently that about 20 million Americans moved jobs in 2021 or something like that. An outstanding amount, clearly more if you look globally, I'm in London, everyone's moving. You jump on LinkedIn and you just see, last year certainly it was like, hey, congrats on your job, got a new job. We obviously had this term, the Great Resignation and the Great Rehire and stuff like that. And right now, and of course, the wind may change. These things are cyclical. But right now, there are many more jobs than there are people available. LinkedIn did a survey recently, and they did a survey of how many ads on their platform versus how many people were applying, and there were more jobs and less applications. And I think it's interesting, and it corroborates a lot of the stuff that I see hiring for companies, speaking to candidates and things like that. And it's interesting. And I think people miss a trick, because as well as that context of there's a lot of jobs around, there are also a lot of people that have struggled to find work, people that are unemployed, millions of people unemployed, millions of people that just, they can't find anything, it's crazy. And I think people really overlook this hidden talent pool, these groups of people that just can't find anything. And these groups of people could be, let me get my mic closer. These groups of people, I know they could have been, in prison. They could be part-time workers, working mums. They could be disabled. A whole raft of stuff that has really prevented them from really getting into the workforce. They could have also been doing jobs that don't exist anymore. And as a society, we're never that good at retraining people. What are the real in-demand skills? And how can we train people to do them? And so I'm really interested in that. And I think we need to be more creative with how we hire and think about what's really important. And some large companies that I know are thinking a little bit more creatively about it. Like, do they really need the college degree to be successful? Do they have to have come from a rival firm? Do they have to have this pedigree? Could we hire for potential? What are the absolute must-haves? Like, what are the top criteria to make them successful in the job? A question I love to ask people when they're hiring is, imagine 12 months from now, you're going into their appraisal and they've done an outstanding job. Like, what does a great year look like for them? And they'll start to go through some of the stuff, and they'll start to think a little bit about, well, what's really important. Then also, if you think about some of the people that have done great, like who are the top performers in your team and why are they so good? What are the human skills that makes them great? A lot of the time, it's these human skills. It's like being kind, good work ethic, open to learning, collaborative, like all of these things, like positivity, turning up on time, great grand game, right? Turn up on time, be smart, do good work, put your effort in. Just some basic stuff that requires zero talent. A lot of the time, that's the difference that makes the difference between a great hire and not a great hire. Again, a lot of companies, they think about their hiring metrics. They're looking at time to hire, cost to hire, stuff like that. Is that so relevant? I'd argue that, maybe think a little bit about, how long does it take you to get these people up to speed? Are you giving them a mountain of work on day one, or are you sending them a nice bouquet of flowers and some stuff they might like, so they start to feel engaged and like enjoying the culture? Are you introducing them to people? Are you helping them build these human connections? And people are happy, and they love working there and enjoy the culture, they're much more likely to do really great work, because the work is the work, and who you do it with matters. And so when someone's hired, you put all this effort in and all this money you've spent hiring, make sure that their onboarding is just phenomenal, right? So and then the metrics, like, how long have they stayed for? How often have they got promoted? Do other people in the team love them and stuff? Because you might end up, if it's a sales role, right? It's this classic thing of like, would you fire your top performing salesperson because they're toxic to your culture and everyone else is leaving? It's a really, really great question. And so when you're hiring, if you're hiring a salesperson, you're just looking at their sales numbers. Is that a predictor of future success? Does it mean that just because they're like a star salesperson, that the team are going to work really well with them when they get on the pitch? It's like a star striker. Like you can measure how many goals they've scored previously, but you can't measure how the team are going to play when they're on the pitch. But I think there's things you can do in an interview process, other metrics you can use, other like criteria you can use for hiring to give yourself a better opportunity. And again, you can think about the best people in your team. Who are the people the team members that people love the most? What's the difference that makes the difference? What are these absolute must-have human skills and what can you train? Or what are the key technical skills you have to have, right? But then what are the other ones that you can train? And I think if you take time and you take a moment, then you give these people who are really struggling to find work an opportunity. And there are so many fabulous people that are struggling to find work with wonderful skills that could do the job that you're hiring for. For example, waiters or people in hospitality have fabulous customer service experience. They're used to dealing with difficult customers, things like that will translate really well to some things like a customer service job or sales job. Something customer focused, people orientated. There's a whole raft in society and stuff. So I think if you really want to fill more of your open vacancies and you want to end up with better hires, and think about the metrics that you're using to measure what a successful hire is, then also think about really quadrupling down on your onboarding. A lot of the time it's not done so well. I hear so many stories, and right now people are just, if it doesn't work for them, they're out. There's so many other jobs right now. People are really struggling to hire, and so people are in high demand. And so right now it's a great opportunity to get it right. And yeah, it might change. And hey, maybe we're talking in like 6 months from now, and we're talking about actually, there's not so many jobs and there's loads of candidates. And I don't want to see companies revert back to old school practices. I'd love this to be an opportunity for companies to really think about like being broader in their hiring, being more inclusive in the types of people that they would consider, and investing the time in training people and just really thinking about it. And I think just it's good all round if people are able to do that. So yeah, hope that's helpful. And if you need any help on any of that stuff, drop me a DM. Got loads of interesting content and techniques for you to think about how you can actually go about hiring for human skills, hiring for potential. There's ways to do that. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed it, and stay safe, stay healthy, and speak soon.